All right, we are preparing for our cold vortex, our first polar vortex of the season here, January, and we haven't experienced this down in Arkansas before. So we've never had a crawl space. We've always had basements. We haven't had all of our plumbing so exposed, and so we have to take and mitigate those risks. Turn off water where we can, drip water where we can. So we got to go through that. I wanted to give you an update. We got this huge honking ladder. Werner was gracious enough to give us a ladder because we wanted one. It's very unsafe with the ladder we have to try and go way up tall, way up high, to change the light bulbs and put stuff in the rafters and start to insulate and that kind of thing. Werner sent us a ladder to review. It's a 20-footer. It is absolutely massive. It is a double-sided ladder. So 600-pound capacity, 2 people can be on it at a time, and it has a super wide base. As some of our friends in the homesteading community commented, ladders without proper training can be hazardous or deadly. And again, with even our 300-pound Werner ladder here, the 12-footer, it reaches up there, and you could change the light bulb with a 12-footer, but you're at the top of the ladder. And this concrete here doesn't give a lot of traction, and it is level though, so you could do it. But I would feel better with the right size ladder, or a little bit taller ladder, so you're not at the top of the ladder and you're not as top heavy. And this ladder is way bigger at the base. So those are some of the things that we wanted to consider putting this together. Yesterday we had tremendous amount of rain and wind, and so we're going to go through and seal up some of the windows. We have a little bit of moisture coming in through this yet, so it's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle trying to figure out how to button this thing up. And we're giving ourselves time to let weather come in, and I mean that was 40 or 50 mile-an-hour winds slamming up against this south wall, and it was a really great test to see how all the insulation, foam, boards, metal, everything worked. It held up pretty well, but again, we found a few leaks around window seals, and a few of the screws on the top have to be adjusted so we can get all those figured out. All right. God, it is so nice today. Had to work inside, I'm doing a lot of video editing and putting up a lot of websites for people right now. So unfortunately, it really is a suck when you can't get out here, but to enjoy the last few nice days. I'm going to be picking up the insulation tomorrow. Have to go all the way to Branson to pick up what we need. Insulation's been a real bugger trying to find it in the right size and the right R value. And geez, it's just a struggle. One of the things I wanted to get out of the ground in the next few days are these are, I'm pretty sure these are chives. Yeah. I got wild chives growing all over the place. And I wanted to get those out of the ground before the super cold snap hits. God, they smell so good. Maddie's like, oh yeah, I'll eat some of them. But it's kind of neat. One of the things we're not used to in Wisconsin, when it's summer, you have to cut the grass all the time. 2 or 3 times a week sometimes. And here, the ground is different, the grass is different. I haven't had to cut the grass probably since late fall. It's freaking awesome for saving gas. All right, here's how our Decora bamboo has been hanging out. It's gone through, Decora bamboo is supposed to be cold tolerant down to like 10 below. And we do have some shoots that were coming out. I'm really worried about these with this zero temps coming up. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to put some more mulch around the base and try to cover them as best I can. But it's such a struggle, you know, like how, Maddie, come here. Don't go in that neighbor's yard. Yeah, stay here. Oh yeah, go through the bed. That's a good idea. You try to cover these as best you can. We lost all the cacti. So these were hydroponic cactus, and they had all spring spring and summer to acclimate to the weather. They're still green in there. All right, I guess we can put the remainders in the garage and put some grow lights on them. But I don't know, these might be too far gone. It was a good try, and my buddy Jake grew these hydroponically. They were not supposed to grow hydroponically. Hydroponic cacti are not a thing, I guess. But he had a bunch of them, and he gave me some to try. And during the summer, it was great. But in the winter, in the fall, As soon as it hit that first 30-degree day, they were like turning dark, flopping over. So if we take a look at the orchard, we fared pretty well. I don't see any signs that the trees had any problems with those 50-mile-an-hour winds. Looking pretty good so far. Boysenberries are okay. The blueberries are okay. Yeah. So I think we're okay from the plant perspective. We don't have too much out here yet, but I think that's probably going to be all right. Probably should have tilled that field before the cold snap, but there's a lot to do. All right, so we sealed up some windows, we sealed up the doors, we put some caulk in areas, we put some great stuff in areas, we sealed a lot of the gaps. We're getting ready for the zero temperatures and wind, and it's a long process, but we'll get there. All right. So yeah, really cold weather, and we are experiencing lots of rain that is now turned over to snow, and then it's going to go through a hard freeze for a week. So what I did is I put some extra layering on the blueberries. I reinforced the trees, and we are looking. I took the bamboo out of the raised bed with 1 year of root system elevated. I wanted to make sure that that root system didn't freeze, so we'll put them in under the grow lights. The rhizomes looked good, the roots looked healthy, but they just weren't established enough to withstand a harsh Arkansas freeze. So the Ozarks are tricky, and we're trying to do what we can to protect our investment. We'll see if it works. Okay, back in the shop now. We brought in quite a bit of wood to keep the furnace going. We have Redneck Plan B for heating this area to make sure everything doesn't freeze. Brought in the bamboo. I put them in the buckets here, And when we get the plants all up on the LEDs system here, we'll put these underneath here over to the side. I'm not sure. I want to keep them away from that door because that door doesn't seal real well yet. But yeah, it's I really just didn't feel like the root systems were established enough with these bamboo, and they only went down, you know, like 1 foot, which typically would be fine. But in the raised bed and with how loose the soil was, I wasn't convinced it was going to be enough. So we're going to try and save them this way. I might have just killed them by doing this, you know. De-rooting something is really frowned upon if you can help it. So you see the big ladder here in the pole barn, and one of the things we're going to be doing is changing out one of these lights to a fan so we can circulate and get the heat that is produced from the furnace or the heater, and all that heat just sits up in the, you know, up in the upper part. We need circulation to bring that heat back down to circulate it out well. And again, it's too small of a wood stove for this size, but it can at least keep it above freezing in the interior part of the pole barn. So down here in the Ozark Mountains, in the southern part, it's not, you know, something that's super important. There's not a lot of hard freezes that last a really long time. We're from Wisconsin. We're used to, you know, the permafrost getting down multiple feet. Here, you know, you're lucky if it hits 6 inches to a foot, but got to try to protect our investments and our plants as much as possible. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and all that things. Blah, blah, blah. See you in the next video.